Along the journey to performance excellence, individuals and organizations must develop a strategic plan, assess the marketplace and its competition, engage their customers to determine what customers want and need today and into the future, gather relevant data, and use knowledge management to make intelligent decisions that further the goals of the organization. Hire the right employees to achieve the organization's goals and then train them and equip them so the employees can succeed. Establish metrics and processes to ensure the work is done right the first time or quickly corrected to save time and money. And finally, evaluate results to answer the ultimate questions: how did we perform? Did we make money? Are we growing or losing market share? Are our customers pleased with us? Will our customers remain loyal to our business or switch their loyalty to a competitor? These are the questions that great organizations ask themselves. And while these might not appear to be difficult questions, I can assure you that most organizations resist asking them, or worse, if they do ask them, they do not honestly answer them. Why not? Well, for one reason, the ego of some leaders and organizations is too fragile. These types of leaders are vain, and they don't like bad news. And they've made it clear to their associates and employees by telling them, "Don't bring me bad news." And when a leader won't listen to the facts, they become useless, because you can't solve problems without knowing the reality of a situation. I refer to this scenario as Titanic thinking. Don't tell me there are icebergs out there, because I am not slowing down and I am not changing course. Full speed ahead. Well, of course, this type of thinking is a recipe for disaster, as the Titanic disaster of 1912 proved. But the reason that most organizations never embark on their own journey to excellence is that it requires a major commitment on the part of senior leadership. It also requires courage on the part of leaders to change the culture of their organizations. This, I think, is the most difficult aspect of achieving organizational greatness. And frankly, I don't think there are very many leaders who have the stomach to do it. I mean, it takes a great deal of inner strength and conviction to transform an organization from bad to good and from great to world class. Think about it. How difficult is it for you in your present job just to get your associates to agree to change their thinking, shift resources, and move in a new direction to accomplish a project? It's not easy, is it? But that's reality. And this is why most organizations never achieve their full potential, or even come close to achieving their potential. Because it's easier to maintain the status quo than break the mold and begin anew. Now, some of you might ask the question, well, if we want to be excellent, what should we do? And my answer to you is this: find some aspect of your organization that you have control over and begin there. For example, if you work in a manufacturing job, review the processes you currently use to get the job done. Ask yourself, how can I improve this work process? What can I do to better train my employees to help them succeed? What ideas do they have to improve performance and our results? Make your people feel like a team and get them engaged in the success of your project. It's okay to share success. If you work in healthcare, ask yourself what your department or business unit can do to better serve your customers or patients. Christy Stevenson, the Chief Executive Officer of Robert Woods Johnson Hamilton Hospital in New Jersey, a recent Malcolm Baldrige Award winner, says that culture trumps strategy every time. I think what Christy meant by that statement is that a leader's primary job is to create a culture whereby employees believe in the organization and therefore are willing to work a little harder and smarter to contribute to its success. But they will only do that if they know that leadership cares and is committed to the organization's success. Some of the ways that RWJ Hamilton Hospital, as it's known, achieves results is by allowing employees to implement creative ideas to better serve their patients. For example, at RWJ Hamilton Hospital, there is a housekeeper who enjoys writing brief love notes to her patients and then leaves them on their bed pillows while the patients are in therapy. Her love notes are filled with words of inspiration and encouragement. For anyone who has been laid up in a hospital for a few days or weeks, you know what a positive motivation this type of message can have on a patient. Another way RWJ Hamilton Hospital encourages employee involvement and patient satisfaction is by allowing an employee to play harp music in the late afternoon just before mealtime. Patients and even the nurses and doctors have written hundreds of letters thanking this particular employee for her soothing music and thoughtfulness. Another employee idea that has generated higher levels of patient satisfaction is pet therapy. At RWJ Hamilton Hospital, they have a golden Labrador dog named Jim who greets patients and consoles them. And finally, RWJ Hamilton built a garden at its cancer center and calls it the Grounds for Healing. It's very therapeutic, and patients enjoy spending time there as they recover from their surgery and treatment. Now, while these improvements and innovations cost very little, their impact on the performance of RWJ Hamilton are significant. Patient satisfaction has improved from 70% to over 90% in 12 years at RWJ Hamilton Hospital. Occupancy levels at the hospital have reached 85%, which far exceeds the occupancy levels of their nearest competitor. And employee satisfaction has improved as well. But it all starts with the leader's willingness to foster a culture of excellence. Let me give you another example of what I'm talking about. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, there is a company named the Bama Companies, which, by the way, won the Malcolm Baldrige Award. And this company makes pies, pastries, pizza crust, cookies, and customized food products for many of the leading fast food restaurants and family dining restaurants around the world. The Bama Company's CEO, Paula Marshall Chapman, tells the story about how her largest customer, McDonald's restaurants, informed the Bama Companies in 1985 that it was going to stop buying its products unless the Bama Companies improved its quality, service, and performance. Well, I don't know about you, but if my largest customer threatened to fire me for underperforming, that would get my attention. And the Bama Companies got the message, and fast. Paula said they had 90 days to demonstrate their commitment to fixing the problems or lose their biggest customer. But where do you begin? How does an organization initiate a customer recovery program in 90 days and set things right? Well, Paula Marshall Chapman had studied the principles of W. Edwards Deming and decided to use Deming's plan, do, check, act approach to statistical process control. Paula brought together her team and sat down with the customer to find out exactly what was wrong and what they needed to fix. In other words, they started listening to their customers to determine customer priorities and expectations. Now, this is not rocket science, but it does require an organization to focus on the basic building blocks of customer satisfaction and process management. And it was these two factors, customer focus and process management, that got the Bama companies interested in the Malcolm Baldrige Award model. Through the Baldrige Award criteria, the Bama companies discovered a holistic approach to organizational excellence and was able to identify their key success factors. Paula Marshall Chapman says that her job as the Chief Executive Officer is to provide leadership and establish a leadership system that clearly defines the company's mission, vision, and future directions. I'm pleased to tell you that the Bama companies transformed itself in 5 years from a mediocre company in 1985 to a Malcolm Baldrige Award winner in 2004. And yes, they kept their largest customer, and that relationship has grown significantly and now benefits both companies. The results speak for themselves. If you look at the Bama company's people results, and you'll see this on the screen, you will find that promotion opportunities for Bama's hourly employees has increased during the past 6 years from about 35 positions to well over 200 positions. And for management positions, promotional opportunities have increased from 5 positions to 35 positions. And employee satisfaction has jumped from 6.8 to 7.8 on an 8-point scale. This represents a significant increase in any business. And as we all know, satisfied employees will arrive on time, work harder, make fewer mistakes, and contribute significantly to the organization's long-term success. The Bama companies have increased training hours per employee and have made significant progress in their Six Sigma projects, achieving incredible customer focus results with what they have conceptualized as 100% customer satisfaction, an amazing score. The company's value-added growth results are also impressive. Revenues have steadily increased from $125 million in 2000 to over $210 million in 2004. And their operating income per pound has also grown steadily as a result of the number of startup of new product lines. And so I would encourage your organization to adopt a performance excellence strategy, such as the Malcolm Baldrige Award or your country's version of the Baldrige Award, as one way to launch your own continuous improvement journey. I can tell you from firsthand experience that it will pay rich dividends in the long term. Now, with regard to tactics, I see several tools that organizations are using to improve their performance and achieve better results. They include Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, and Kaizen, to name but a few. And each of these tools will complement your company's continuous improvement journey or performance excellence strategy, provided you blend three key items: people, processes, and customer priorities. A model I recommend is the 8-dimension system that was developed by Mr. Robin Lawton of the International Management Technologies Incorporated, based in Sarasota, Florida. And what I like about Robin Lawton's 8-dimension strategy is the emphasis on starting with the customer's desired outcome, which is listed as the #1 task. When I interviewed Robin Lawton about the 8 dimensions, he told me that most people, when shown this approach, ask the question, where should we begin our efforts to create satisfied customers? And most people responded, step 4, process. Of course, that is a typical left brain response. But as Lawton explains, how can you create desired customer outcomes if you haven't defined what the customer wants or needs? And for that matter, step 5, what your company seeks as a desired outcome. This makes perfect sense because when you think about it, there's no point in making pies or widgets if you're not going to achieve your desired outcomes or the customer's desired outcomes. In a nutshell, this was the problem at the Bama companies in 1985 when their largest customer threatened to fire them. If you want to create long-term relationships with your customers and satisfy them, then you must begin at step 1 and 5 to determine what are your customers' desired outcomes. And by the way, what are your customers' undesired outcomes, which is shown as step 2 on Lawton's 8 dimensions model. Once you've determined customer outcomes, you can begin to create the products your customers want, which is steps 3 and 7, and then define the processes that will ensure reliable and profitable outcomes for you, which are steps 4 and 8. I like Lawton's 8-dimension strategy because it clearly follows the systematic approach recommended by the Malcolm Baldrige Award model for performance excellence. And it blends the people and processes philosophy that I advocate in order to achieve higher levels of performance and sustained results. Let me close with one more example of how a performance excellence model can work in a nonprofit organization, because I know many of you either work for a government agency or a university. Now, I appreciate the fact that business organizations and government or educational institutions operate under different rules. But those rules are not as different as you might think. For example, both private sector and public sector organizations, that is, businesses and governments or universities, have customers. We might call them by different names, such as citizens, taxpayers, students, faculty, or even prisoners, if you include those people serving time in jails. And both types of organizations have income and expenses. While government is not designed to generate a profit, both government and educational institutions must spend their funds wisely and demonstrate results at the end of the fiscal year. And so I want to share with you the highlights of another recent Malcolm Baldrige Award winner, the Montfort College of Business, which is located in Greeley, Colorado, about 50 miles northeast of Denver, Colorado. The Montfort College of Business is part of the University of Northern Colorado, which is a public university. Montfort College of Business has 45 full-time employees and a $5 million budget. So as you can see, we are not talking about a huge organization. And let me add that the state of Colorado ranks 50th out of 50 states in terms of school funding per pupil. That's right, dead last of all the 50 states in the United States. So Montfort College needs to watch every penny it spends and maximize its return on investment. In 1984, Montfort decided to go against conventional wisdom by dropping its graduate degree programs. Now, you should know that during the 1980s and 1990s, offering graduate degrees was a major growth business for universities in the United States. So why would Montfort College of Business go against conventional wisdom and eliminate their graduate degree program? Well, according to their current dean, Dr. Joe Alexander, Montfort determined from one of its customer bases, businesses that employ their students upon graduation, that employers really wanted Montfort to prepare their students for successful careers and responsible leadership in business. And this was part of Montfort's undergraduate mission, but not their graduate school focus. And so Montfort decided that it would listen to its customers and focus its resources, technology, and teaching efforts to create outstanding undergraduates. Today, Montfort's 1,145 business majors are highly sought after by companies and organizations who want mature, well-educated college graduates. Montfort College of Business discovered the Malcolm Baldrige Award criteria in the 1990s. And over the course of the past 20 years and 3 college deans, Montfort has kept to its vision to prepare its students for successful careers and responsible leadership in business. Several things intrigue me about Montfort's success. First, Montfort College of Business really operates on a shoestring budget. $5 million is not a lot of money for a state university business school. Secondly, Montfort has been able to maintain a high-quality faculty, despite the fact that competing universities offer higher salaries and more benefits to their faculty. And thirdly, Montfort is not ranked in the same league as Harvard, Yale, or Princeton. And so attracting undergraduate students to attend Montfort is a very competitive business. But finally, Montfort must work harder than its competitors to build a market reputation that matches its program quality. I know the educators listening to this must be shaking their heads and saying, wow, Montfort certainly is fighting an uphill battle. And they would agree. But interestingly enough, when your organization has a very clear vision that is supported from the top down and everybody is working towards achieving that vision, the hill is not so steep and the battle is easier to fight. Over the past 11 years, Montfort students have improved their ETS scores by more than 24 percentage points. And during the past 6 years, Montfort has been able to attract a higher quality of student. And Montfort's student quality for new freshman students has increased in terms of their ACT scores from the 30 percentile to nearly the 50 percentile in ACT scores, exceeding the national average in the United States by a comfortable margin. This means more high school graduates with outstanding grades want to attend Montfort College of Business because they know their chances of securing a higher paying job are better as a Montfort graduate. I hope today's session has helped you understand some of the interesting trends, strategies, and tactics that companies and organizations are using to compete in this global marketplace. And I hope that each of you, when tasked with the responsibility of leading people and organizations, will remember that there are proven models available to help you achieve higher levels of performance and results. Thank you very much for joining me, and good luck.